Hey BookTube. I wanted to talk to you guys about what I'm currently reading. So, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie. And if you can tell, I am reading Dan Brown's Origin on Libby, on the Libby app. It's been a while since I've, listened to a Dan Brown, or read Dan Brown, technically, because this is my first time listening to one of his books. And it's very entertaining. Like, the reason kind of why I walked away, stopped reading Dan Brown is because his plots kind of get formulaic, or at least. But granted, this is a series that he's working on. It's what he enjoys writing, so it makes sense that it's a bit formulaic. But in case you don't know, he's the author of Angels and Demons, Digital Fortress, which I have not read, so maybe that's a little different. Inferno, the Lost Symbol, and then this one, Origins. I think that's all of them. The one I just showed you. And a lot of times all his plots are surrounded by this one character, Robert Langdon. He's American Harvard. I think he's a Harvard professor of symbology, and he always kind of wrong place, wrong time, where he ends up in this situation where it's religion versus politics. Something happens to a character where a character gets killed or murdered, and he has to figure it all out. Who did it, because he could potentially be framed for it. He's always partnered with the beautiful female who's in a way involved in all this. It usually takes place somewhere in Europe. And it's all about him piecing it all together and trying to figure out the clues. It's usually a mystery. And what I did like about it to begin with, but first of all, I really enjoy history. And second of all, I like that it's not some police detective or something, because sometimes that can get a little bit boring. At least these are still kind of fun, especially because it's someone who's knows about history, but is not like a detective or a scientist or anything like that. But it does get a little repetitive and formulaic at times. But then it's a series about this one character, and and Dan Brown seems to like the series and is comfortable with it. And it's kind of fun to get back into the world of Robert Langdon, and I feel like he's an author that you can jump in at any time. I mean, yeah, there are certain aspects where he refers to previous books, but I don't think it's going to kill you if you just jump into it, from a random point. You read this one or one of the other ones first, and not the first one he published. Then I think you'll be fine. They might refer to something that happened in the previous book, but then just go ahead and read the previous book if you want, after that. I don't think it's not a big thing. They're usually small things. Where he talks about a previous experience and he compares it to his current situation, like in this book, he did that. Or, he refers to an encounter with another character. I think Angels and Demons came first, and then the Da Vinci Code was published. But I read the Da Vinci Code first, and I think in the Da Vinci Code he does reference to his female partner in Angels and Demons, and I think they do temporarily date or have a one night stand kind of situation. I don't know. It's been a while, but and of course, there's always those references. Sometimes people come to approach Robert Langdon and will be like, "Oh, I remember you were involved in this. You solved this mystery, so maybe you can help us with ours." I think Da Vinci Code, the person he gets called, and they refer to what happened to Angels and Demons. I think so. There are some references referring to the previous books, but again, I don't think you have to read them in order, because I did not. I read the Da Vinci Code first, and I think Angels and Demons was the first one. Was the one that came first, or was published first. But I really like, in this one, it takes place in Spain, and one of his previous students, he is going to share something that will share something that will change the shape of science and religion all over the world. He's an atheist, his friend, and he invites Robert Langdon to come, and he's giving this whole presentation, and then he gets shot during the presentation, and so it's up Robert, and is with the help of the actors engaged to the prince of the country, they have to figure out what his friend was going to share with the world and escape the authorities because they think they're suspicious of his and this actress's in this whole situation. And there's a little bit of a political conflict going on, and there's like this whole war between the old world views, and then and the liberals of today that want changes and are want a liberal way of doing things, but the traditionals want to keep it traditional, don't want to change anything. And this guy, and Robert Langdon's friend, is going to change and break tradition, and they don't like that. There are some people who do not like that, and so it's a very interesting read. And it's just being back in that world is actually fun. I mean, yeah, it gets repetitive, and I feel like I'm not going to go back to that whole thing where I read several books one right after the other, because then it will kind of ruin it, will get boring. I think that's what happens with series sometimes too, and I think that's why I tend to drag out a series, especially if it's a really long one. Because I've read some really long series that after a while it's like, is it over yet? Did they defeat the bad guy? Or did the bad guy defeat the good guys? I mean, there's so much drama. I was enjoying Keeper of the Lost Cities, but after a while, things that annoy me about things that are hard to appreciate as a 30-year-old woman in Middle Grade series got under my skin a little bit, and then there were other aspects of the story itself that were irritating. And then the House of Night series, everything fell apart. Like, I did not like the main character. She was getting on my nerves. And it was similar to Keeper of the Lost Cities as far as story problems, not necessarily the whole, because it was House of the Night series is a YA series, so it's for teens and young adults. Excuse me, I'm talking too much. I actually just filmed my video for Sunday the 26th. Top 7 on Sunday. But, and then I'm trying to think of some other series that, like James Patterson's Women's Murder Club series, after a while, it's like, I don't like the idea of those series that just keep going and going and going. I mean, it's great that the author is enjoying themselves and keeps coming up with new ideas, or trying to, but, or in the case of House of Night, authors, and House of Night did have an ending in the end. I mean, it did have an ending point. So did Keeper of the Lost Cities, but it's just after a while, I got kind of bored with both those series and got really annoyed with the main character in both cases. But series that are just ongoing, it's like, okay, I want the ending. I mean, it's one thing if it's a TV show and it's an ongoing series that just keeps going. If it's a TV show, that's fine. But if it's a book, I want a clear ending point. I want it to eventually end. And it feels like those series that just keep going and going, it's just like, okay, I could never get into the Kate Daniel series. I think it's called the Kate Daniel series. Or maybe that's the author's name. But it's a series that Sam from Thoughts on Tomes talks about a lot. But anyway, so what was I gonna... Oh yeah, so but either way, I'm still having a good time getting back into the world of Robert Langdon. This one takes place in Spain. And I just like reading about that fight between religion and science. I always think that's very interesting, like the whole idea of, I mean, in real life, it gets kind of like Okay, why does it have to be either or? Why are you two butting heads? Why can't you both be right? I mean, I know that it's complicated and everything has to be black and white and simple and everything, but you know what? Life is not like that. Okay, so, if you consider the possibility that they could be both be right. I mean, who says that, like, what God did is not like the Big Bang Theory? That whole thing is really, I'm well, anyway, I don't want to go into that. Sorry, but but I like reading about it. I find it very interesting, even though I would not want to talk. I don't want to be part of that discussion in real life. I like reading the fictional version of it. Although I'm sure this is based on some actual facts, because I mean, I don't. I think. I imagine his story. I think Dan Brown's novels are based on something that's really going on in the countries that he writes about. But it's just a very interesting, like, science versus religion is very interesting and nerve wracking, even. Like, what people do in the name of science and religion is just kind of scary in these works of fiction. And I wonder, and I'm sure, sadly, I bet it does happen in real life. Because people hold onto their beliefs very strongly, and if you disagree with their beliefs, they're going to cut you off. And they don't want anything to do with you, because if your beliefs don't line up with theirs, it's like, how dare you? I'm not gonna be friends with you anymore. And it's one thing if you're married to someone or living with someone that has different beliefs than you. Yeah, but if it's someone that's just a friend, why? Who cares? I mean, just discuss it. Like, I mean, I understand the struggle of not knowing. Like, if you're discussing something with someone, and then you can't think of what else to say next, and not wanting to admit that they make good points, or trying to continue debating with them and sticking to your own guns and your own beliefs. But the thing is, how you react to it is what's important. And, like, don't get mad and up in their face. Like, I recently had a discussion with someone about one of my favorite TV shows, and our opinions differed, like, about a certain character. And then I kind of got to the point where I was like, I couldn't find how to argue back and to say, well, no, I feel to make a good argument back to say, and to, I was thinking, oh, great, now he's got me changing my opinion. Like, he made good points, and I guess he makes a good point about this other character. It's like, dang it. I want to continue debating, but I don't know what else to say to defend my original opinion. And I'm someone who can be very stubborn, doesn't like being wrong all the time, and the difference is how I handle it. And I didn't want to butt heads with him, because I've done that before with people, and it's a very immature reaction. I mean, I wouldn't do anything as crazy as what these characters would do for religion or science to hold on to their beliefs, but it's very fascinating how people will react if you alter their beliefs. And I'm very curious what Langdon's friend, his student, because he was a student before, what he was gonna say. And I'm wondering if we're actually gonna find out, or if it's one of these things where we're trying to find out, but then by the end of it, you don't reveal exactly. You just kind of like the rug is pulled out from under us. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but sometimes authors do that. I'm also working my way through Enchante. Let me get that book. By Gita Trelease. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And I'm reading this for the Magical Readathon, created by G from Book Roast. Her the Owls part of the Magical Readathon. I picked it for the prompt of Transfiguration, which is a shapeshifter. And, again, my argument with this one is, yeah, it's not technically shapeshifting into another person or an animal per se, but it is someone who's shaping their face to look different, to change it. That's how I see it. So it kind of is like shapeshifting, but it's not really. But our main character, it's her her parents are dead, so it's her sister, her younger sister, and brother. And her brother has gotten into gambling, wanting to make money and stuff because they're from the lower class. And this is during the when King Louis the Sixth, I think it's the 16th, who was married to Marie Antoinette, who was during that time, and everyone knows the whole famous line, "Let them eat cake" and stuff. And everyone was rebelling, like the poor were rebelling. And our main character has disguised herself, used her magic that her mom taught her, which is like you can, if you give a little bit, there's a secret dress that she can put on, and then she gives it a little bit of blood, then it won't alter her appearance. So she'll look like an aristocrat. And it's something that her mom didn't tell her about but she figures out because so she disguises herself as an aristocrat and actually starts to make friends with these people and does it to make money. She gambles so that she can make money, but of course it's gambling. It's so unpredictable. There's no guarantee that you'll make enough. You kind of get sucked into this world and imagine, and it becomes a bit of an addiction for her. And I feel like I feel like that's kind of what Once Upon a Time tried to explore with Rumpelstiltskin's character, but I feel like they didn't do it enough, and they did it like wrongly, in my humble opinion. I mean, like I said, I could be wrong. I did stop watching the show after season 3, but I think that's the direction they were going with. But then from what I hear, they had no idea what to do with the character, and I already saw they were destroying the character. And they kept flip-flopping, and then people just started hating his character even more than, some people already did. They didn't really explore the idea of magic and addiction and how you should handle it. They just dismissed the character. I mean, like I said, don't take my word for it, and I admit, I did stop after season 3 because I couldn't handle it anymore, and I didn't want to waste my time because I'd get upset over a TV show. And I already had my parents giving me a hard time about that, being like, it's just a show. So I didn't want to deal, and it was going to stress me out, so I was like, I didn't have, I watch TV and watch these shows for entertainment to enjoy myself. And yeah, participate in discussion, but, and I feel like I didn't want to deal with that. So, but I feel like this book, Enchante, does a better job at kind of exploring addiction. And there's a little bit of romance. She falls in love with a guy that she doesn't realize until later that he's an aristocrat, and he's an aerialist. He's a balloonist. And there's a whole conflict of how her sister, her mom was an aristocrat who married a printer, fell in love with marrying a printer, and she tried to get away from that world. But she also kind of tells her younger sister about this world, and so the young Camille, our main character, her younger sister Sophie, wants to be part of this world, and he says it's great and glamorous, and is kind of jealous of Camille, who's joining this world in disguise. And I am getting so frustrated with her sister. And I guess if my mom did that and told me about the beauty of this world, the positives of the aristocratic world, then maybe I would be dumb enough and naive enough to, fall for it. But I want to shake her sister and be like, oh my god, you're so naive. These people are not your friends. These people are full of secrets and cons and stuff. And this guy that she's interested in, he's not nice. He's going to take advantage of her. And I just want to shake her and say, oh my god, stop being so dumb and naive. It's just so frustrating, and it doesn't help that Camille is becoming part of this world and she has to sit there and watch. And I think the only way she's going to realize it is the hard way, which I don't want Sophie to have to go through that. The hard way. I would feel so bad for her to have to go through that. But I think it's the only way she will learn her lesson and realize, okay, wait, this world is not that great. These people are not that nice. But just driving me crazy and frustrating me so much. I feel so bad for Camille that she has to deal with this, that she's trying to protect her sister, but her sister keeps insisting, stop trying to protect him, keeps insisting to stop trying to protect him, and you're wrong about the nobles, you don't know them, and, oh, this guy genuinely likes me, and it's like, no, honey, he doesn't. He wants to take advantage. He sees you as an idiot, a naive, beautiful idiot that he can take advantage of. And it's just, it's just so frustrating, and um, but I'm really enjoying this, and I'm having a really great time. And I like the idea of magic, how they use magic for the aristocratic society, and like it kind of fits, especially the glamour magic, because like from what I know about historically about this world is they were very much into painting their faces and making themselves look really beautiful and very artistic looking, and wearing wigs and stuff, and hiding their their smells and all that with perfume and stuff. So it kind of makes sense that they're using magic to do that, to hide from the world. And what's really cool is there's consequences to using the magic, because like I said in the beginning, Camille has to give blood so that she can has to give blood on has to put give blood to the magic so that she will be glamorous and beautiful. And it's hollowing her out, it's draining her of energy, but she has to keep going on this. And it's like, on the one hand, I understand her reason of keeping going and being like, I have to do this. What other choice do I have? She can't see any way out of it. But then it also shows that she's addicted to it. She may not, there may not be a way out of it, but she also likes it. Her sister's not wrong there. She enjoys it. She enjoys being part of this world. And this kind of reminds me of, I listened to Red Queen on Libby, and it's like someone from a lower class being part of the rich people's world, the world of the rich and famous, and having power in this world, and getting caught up in it, and just but at the same time fighting against it, like on judging it, but also being part of it, getting caught up in the glamour and the glitz of it all. But it is very similar. Although the main character, Mare, in Red Queen is a little more aggressive and feisty. And I feel like the part Camille is playing, she can't be like that. She can't be all feisty and hot-headed. She has to be a little saucy, a little flirtatious, and more play up to femininity. The feminine one is considered feminine traits. And she's a lot more passive and sweet and stuff, even when she's Camille again. She still kind of has that sweet girlishness about her. She's not all like, feisty and up in your face and stuff. And by the way, I also appreciate that there's a sister involved in this story. Like, that there's a little sister, and seeing the differences between the two in their complicated relationship and how frustrating they love each other, but at the same time, it's also kind of dysfunctional and falling apart right now because she's jealous of Camille because it's part of this world that she's always wanted to be part of, and she's a little like Camille is more aware of this world and sees it for what it truly is, but she's also questioning herself and seeing the gray spots of this world, while Sophie doesn't see any of the gray. She sees it as beautiful and glamorous and something to be part of. And I want this life. I want to marry, have a rich husband. And I feel so bad for her because she's so delusional and thinking, getting married and having a rich husband is going to be so great. But what's going to happen though is if she married that one dude that she was all into and is flirting with her, both of them trying to flirt with Camille and her, and that once they're married, he's going to ditch her and ignore her, and she's going to be all alone in her own house. And like I said, maybe she needs to experience that. I mean, I don't want her to, but maybe that will be the wake-up call. But then the problem with that is that she's not going to be able to get out of that. And yeah, of course, Camille's not going to want her to have to go through that. It will be horrible to see her experience that, the horrors, and it's especially when she can't get out of that. I mean, back then, it wasn't so easy to ask for a divorce. So I wish there was a compromise in a way for her to see what it really is like without having to learn it the hard way. Or I feel like Sophie needs to learn a less hard way. but something that will like splash cold water on her and make her realize, wait a second, my sister was right. This world is cruel and not fair and stuff like that. And they don't care about. They don't genuinely care about us. And I don't know. I don't know. I know there's a sequel to this, so I don't know if it's gonna be. I did cheat a little bit, look at the last page, and read a little bit of it, and it sounds like it's a happy ending. So I guess it maybe is gonna be one of those books where everything's gonna be all happy and everything, and end on a positive note. But then it's gonna continue with the sequel, and I don't know what's gonna happen there. I don't know if things are gonna be positive. So because it doesn't seem like it's ending on a cliffhanger in this first one. So I don't know if it's going to be a new story. Maybe it's going to be from a different perspective. Maybe it's going to be from Sophie's perspective, which I think would be interesting for a duology, because I think it's going to be just a duology where we got Camille's perspective, and now we get the perspective of the person that doesn't have magic, and maybe she's surrounded by people who have magic. I think that would be interesting, and get caught up in it all. Although, so I'm trying to get that one done. I'm on, there's 70 chapters, and I'm currently on chapter 52. And the chapters are not very long. So I'm trying to get, I don't know if I'll finish it today or not. I'll see how I feel. But I might try to finish it today. But I have 2 days off, so I have today, tomorrow, and then I'm working on Tuesday, and then I'm off on Wednesday, and then I work on Thursday. No surprise there. And then I think I'm off on Friday. It seems like it's doing every other day thing again. So that is where I'm at with my reading right now. So if you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell notification below if you want to see when I post new videos. And I know that a lot of people are struggling with being inspired to read because of what's going on in the world, this global crisis. So I really hope you're able to get back into reading, but no pressure if you don't. But if you are reading and you aren't struggling with that, I would love to hear what you are currently reading. And I will talk to you all later. All right, bye.